There will come a day when everything feels heavy, when your mind screams to stop, when you've given everything, and it's still not enough. That's the moment this message was made for. Because you don't need another motivational quote. You don't need someone to pat you on the back. You need truth. The kind that hurts before it heals. The kind that reminds you, growth was never supposed to be easy. You're not behind. You're being built. Every struggle is shaping the person you said you wanted to become. The problem isn't that you're tired. The problem is that you forgot why you started. So when it feels like you can't go on, listen closer. Because this isn't where you stop. This is where you rise. This is the moment you prove to yourself, you can't be broken. Chapter 1. When you're tired, remember why you started. There will come a moment when everything inside you tells you to stop. When your body aches, your mind screams for relief, and the path ahead looks longer than what you've already survived. Fatigue is deceptive. It doesn't just drain your muscles, it clouds your vision. It whispers lies that sound reasonable. You've done enough. You deserve a break. It's not worth it anymore. But those are not truths, they're emotional distortions born from exhaustion. And when you're tired, emotion becomes a poor guide. That's when you need to return to something stronger than feeling, your why. Your why is the reason you began this journey. It's the fire that burned inside you before life tested your resolve. Maybe it was the desire to build a better future. Maybe it was to prove to yourself that you were capable of more than what others saw in you. Or maybe it was simply to break free from old habits, old pain, old versions of yourself. Whatever it was, it started as a spark. But life doesn't care about sparks, it tests flames. And if you've been walking through darkness for too long, that spark might feel dim right now. But it's not gone, it's buried under fatigue, under frustration, under fear. You don't need new motivation. You just need to uncover what you started with. When exhaustion hits, you can't rely on inspiration. It's unreliable, it fades fast. You must rely on discipline, on remembrance. Motivation is the engine that gets you started. Purpose is the anchor that keeps you moving when the waves get violent. Every time you're tempted to quit, you're standing at a crossroads. The road of temporary relief versus the road of permanent growth. Relief feels good for a moment. Growth feels painful in the process but powerful in the aftermath. The difference between those who finish and those who fade isn't talent, it's memory, the ability to remember their purpose when pain tries to erase it. Think back to the moment you decided to begin. Before the obstacles, before the exhaustion. Remember what that decision felt like. The mix of fear and excitement, the silent promise you made to yourself. That version of you had clarity. They knew why they had to start, and that clarity was pure. Now, with time and trials, the world has tried to make you forget. But that original fire, that why, still lives within you. You owe it to that version of yourself to keep going. You don't need to feel strong to act strong. You just need to remember what's at stake if you don't. Because stopping doesn't just cost time. It costs meaning. It costs identity. Every time you give up, you teach your mind that quitting is an option. And that becomes a dangerous pattern, because once the mind learns to escape discomfort, it will do so again and again. But when you endure, even in small moments, you reprogram yourself. You prove that fatigue is not final. You teach your mind that pressure doesn't break you, it builds you. The difference between breaking and bending is often just one more step. Pain has a way of shrinking your world. It narrows your vision until all you can see is the struggle right in front of you. But purpose expands it again. When you zoom out and remember why you started, the pain doesn't disappear, but it becomes manageable. You stop asking, how can I get out of this? And start asking, what can I get from this? That's the shift from suffering to strength. Pain doesn't go away, it transforms into fuel when you see it as part of the mission. There will be days when your why feels distant, when the reward doesn't seem worth the sacrifice. That's normal. Every great achiever, every relentless warrior has faced that moment. The strongest don't avoid fatigue, they master it. They use it as a reminder that they're still in the fight, still alive, still capable. When your body says stop, your mind must whisper, not yet. When your thoughts say, I can't, your heart must respond, watch me. Because if you quit every time you're tired, you'll never know how close you were to the breakthrough that only the persistent find. You have to remind yourself that the road of greatness is supposed to hurt. That discomfort isn't punishment, it's the price of progress. Every rep in the gym, every late night, every rejection, every setback, it all contributes to your transformation. The pain you feel now is proof that you're still pushing your limits. And the fatigue you feel today will become the strength you rely on tomorrow. You're not just tired, you're evolving. Fatigue is not a signal to stop. It's a signal that you're moving beyond what used to hold you back. When emotion tells you it's too much, logic must step in. Logic must remind you that stopping now means losing everything you've already sacrificed for. You didn't endure this long just to quit at the edge. You didn't bleed for mediocrity. You didn't fight to return to the same place you started from. You've already paid too much to go back empty-handed. So breathe. Regain your focus. Reconnect to your purpose. Every great comeback begins with one simple decision: to keep moving. Your why is not a slogan. It's not a pretty phrase to write in a notebook. It's your weapon when weakness attacks. When fatigue clouds your mind, your why cuts through it. It reminds you who you are and why you can't stop now. That's why you must repeat it. Etch it into your thoughts until it becomes instinct. When the pain rises, whisper it. When doubt creeps in, repeat it louder. When everything hurts and quitting feels like peace, let it echo in your mind. Remember your why. Because purpose doesn't fade, it's only forgotten. And when you remember it, you'll realize something powerful. The strength you thought you'd lost was never gone. It was simply waiting for you to remember what you're fighting for. You don't need new motivation. You need truth. The truth that every champion learns the hard way, that exhaustion isn't the end, it's the entrance to another level. The point where others stop is the point where you begin to separate yourself. So when you're tired, don't surrender to the voice of weakness. Return to the fire that started it all. Reconnect to the reason that made you take that first step. Let it fuel you when strength runs out. Because pain is temporary, fatigue fades, but purpose endures. And when you act from purpose, you become unstoppable. Remember your why. That's your fuel when strength runs out. Chapter 2. Nobody's coming to save you. There's a harsh truth most people spend their entire lives trying to avoid. No one is coming to rescue you. No one is coming to pick you up when you fall, to fix what's broken inside you, or to hand you the life you dream about. The world is not built to save you, it's built to test you. And until you accept that, you'll keep waiting instead of working, hoping instead of moving. The day you stop waiting for someone else to change your circumstances is the day your real strength begins. It's easy to crave rescue. We've been conditioned to believe that help will always arrive, that someone will understand, that someone will notice our struggle, that someone will care enough to pull us out of the hole we've fallen into. But life doesn't work like that. People are busy fighting their own battles. The world keeps spinning while you wait for someone to pause it on your behalf. The truth is cold, but it's liberating. You are all you have. The only person who can save you is you. Every time you wait for motivation, permission, or validation, you delay your progress. You hand your power over to circumstances you can't control. You say, "I'll start when I feel ready," not realizing that readiness never comes. Growth doesn't happen in comfort. It begins in responsibility, the brutal realization that your life is your own project. Every piece of it, the success, the failure, the discipline, the chaos, all of it rests on your decisions. No mentor, no book, no friend can walk this path for you. They can guide, yes, but they can't move your feet. When you finally take ownership, everything changes. Suddenly, excuses lose their weight. Complaints feel useless. You stop asking, "Why is this happening to me?" and start asking, "What can I do about it?" That shift, from victim to builder, is the foundation of strength. It's the moment you stop expecting rescue and start creating results. You stop being a passenger in your own life. You take the wheel even when the road is unclear, even when your hands are shaking. The world owes you nothing. It doesn't owe you understanding, opportunities, or fairness. It rewards effort, persistence, and consistency. Nothing more, nothing less. Every person you admire, every story of greatness you've heard began with that single realization. No one was coming. So they got up. They acted. They worked while others waited. And that's what separates the strong from the stagnant. The strong don't wait to be saved, they become their own saviors. Think about how much time is lost waiting. Waiting for the right time. Waiting for support. Waiting for the right mindset. But the right time never announces itself. The world doesn't stop spinning just because you're tired, uncertain, or afraid. Life moves forward, indifferent to your hesitation. If you want change, you must move with it. Sometimes before you feel ready, sometimes while you're still afraid. Because action doesn't wait for comfort. Progress doesn't wait for approval. Taking responsibility doesn't mean you won't feel pain. It means you stop letting pain paralyze you. You learn to use it as fuel instead of a reason to stop. You stop blaming the past, your circumstances, your upbringing, or your luck. You understand that every disadvantage is also a doorway if you choose to walk through it. Responsibility feels heavy at first, but it's the kind of weight that builds muscle. The more you carry it, the stronger you get. Nobody is coming to push you through your limits. Nobody is going to call you at 5 a.m. to remind you to chase your goals. Nobody will care as much as you do. That's not cruelty, it's reality. And once you accept it, you'll find an incredible freedom in it. Because if no one's coming to save you, then no one can stop you either. You become unstoppable because you no longer depend on external validation or support. You create your own momentum. The most dangerous mindset in the world is waiting. Waiting for signs. Waiting for easier days. Waiting for someone to see your potential. Waiting kills dreams. The people who win are not necessarily the most talented. They're the ones who stopped waiting. They stopped expecting fairness and they started creating opportunities. They moved even when they were unsure. They acted even when no one believed in them. And the truth is, nobody has to believe in you for you to win. You can build quietly, fail privately, and rise repeatedly without applause. The only approval you need is your own. The only voice you must listen to is the one that refuses to quit. Every time you show up when no one's watching, every time you do the work without recognition, you're building something far greater than external success. You're building self-respect. And that's a kind of power no one can take from you. There's a difference between being alone and being abandoned. The world didn't abandon you, it simply gave you the space to discover how strong you truly are. You may wish for support, but what you actually need is resilience. You may want someone to guide you, but what you actually need is self-trust. The greatest leaders, creators, and fighters all reached a breaking point where they realized the same truth. No help was coming. And in that realization, they became unstoppable. When you finally accept that no one's coming, something powerful happens. You stop waiting for the perfect moment and start creating it. You stop asking for guarantees and start taking action. You stop fearing failure and start respecting effort. You become the hero of your own story, not the victim of your circumstances. And in doing so, you reclaim every ounce of power that waiting had stolen from you. This world will not reward you for your potential. It rewards what you do with it. It will not hand you strength. It will give you challenges so you can build it. You are not owed a rescue. You are gifted an opportunity, the chance to rise on your own terms, through your own effort, with your own hands. Every person who has ever achieved something great began by taking responsibility. Every success story starts with the sentence, "No one is coming. I'll do it myself." So stop waiting for the call, the sign, the rescue. Stop expecting anyone to hand you what you can build. Look around, this is it. Your willpower, your discipline, your hunger. That's all you've ever needed. The faster you accept that, the faster you'll rise. Because the truth is simple and undeniable. No one's coming. You do it, or it doesn't get done. Chapter 3. Your mind is lying to you. When you reach that breaking point, the moment when everything inside you screams, "I can't do this anymore," understand something vital. Your mind is lying to you. It's not truth speaking. It's exhaustion, fear, and emotion wearing the mask of logic. Your brain will whisper every excuse that sounds reasonable. You've done enough. You deserve a break. It's not worth it anymore. It'll make quitting feel smart and survival feel optional. But that's not logic. It's panic disguised as comfort. And if you listen to it, you'll surrender your future for the illusion of relief. Your mind's first instinct under pressure is not progress. It's protection. It doesn't care about your goals, your dreams, or your long-term growth. It only cares about keeping you safe from discomfort, pain, or risk. That's why, in moments of fatigue, your thoughts turn against you. The same mind that once motivated you to begin will now try to convince you to stop. It will manipulate you with half-truths, rationalizations, and doubts. It's not because you're weak, it's because your system is designed to survive, not to succeed. Growth requires overriding that default. When your mind starts spinning excuses, don't debate, act. The longer you argue with your emotions, the stronger they get. You cannot logic your way out of fear or fatigue, you must outmove them. Action cuts through mental noise like a blade. When you move even slightly, the lies start to lose power. You prove to your brain that you're in control, not it. Discipline isn't about never feeling weak. It's about doing what's necessary even when you feel weak. Every time you act despite doubt, you rewrite your mental code. You teach your brain obedience. Your feelings are temporary, your decisions are forever. The emotion that tells you to quit today will vanish tomorrow, but the consequences of quitting will stay with you for years. Emotions are like weather, they shift, they pass, they change with circumstance. But decisions carve reality. They build or break your life brick by brick. That's why the strong don't make choices based on how they feel. They make them based on what they committed to. Feelings fluctuate, commitment endures. When your mind says, "This pain will never end," it's lying. Pain is data, not destiny. It's feedback, not finality. Every discomfort you feel is your body and brain adjusting to a new level. Growth hurts because you're stretching what's possible. You're tearing through limits that once defined you. But that pain is temporary, it's a signal that you're transforming. If you quit in that moment, you stop the process halfway. You trap yourself between old weakness and unrealized strength. The pain fades, but regret doesn't. Understand this. The mind loves to dramatize. It takes a single moment of hardship and turns it into a prophecy of doom. You fail once and it says you'll always fail. You get rejected once and it says you're unworthy. It's not truth, it's distortion. Your job isn't to silence the mind, it's to question it. To separate reality from reaction. Ask yourself, is this a fact or just a feeling? Because the moment you start distinguishing the two, you gain power. You stop being a puppet of your emotions and become the master of them. Think about how many times you've believed your mind's lies. It's too late. You're not good enough. You'll never make it. And yet you've overcome before. You've endured pain, fear, and uncertainty before. Every time you thought you were done, you found a little more strength. That's proof. Your mind underestimated you then, and it's underestimating you now. The next time that inner voice says you can't, remind it, you already did. The most dangerous lies aren't the ones the world tells you, they're the ones you tell yourself. Because they sound familiar. They sound reasonable. They come wrapped in logic, dressed as caution, disguised as self-care. Take it easy. You've earned a break. You'll try again later. But what if later never comes? What if that one break turns into a pattern of giving up every time things get difficult? That's how weakness becomes a habit, through small logical-sounding lies. You must learn to distrust comfort. Every time your mind tells you to rest when you know you haven't earned it, that's weakness negotiating with your ambition. Every time it says, "You've done enough," when you know you can give more, that's the old version of you fighting for survival. Kill it with action. Move when it says stop. Speak discipline when it speaks doubt. Because every time you disobey those lies, you take back control. Quitting is emotional, but regret is permanent. The pain of effort fades quickly, the pain of giving up echoes for years. You might not feel strong enough right now, but you don't need to. You just need to act. The mind doesn't need belief, it needs direction. Tell it what to do and it will follow. You've done this before. Pushed through fatigue, ignored doubt, survived storms you thought would destroy you. This is no different. Understand the pattern. Emotion rises, logic fades, excuses appear. That's when most people stop. But that's also the precise moment your real strength is forged. The ability to move when your mind screams, "No," is the definition of mental toughness. Every rep, every step, every decision made under fatigue builds a new layer of resilience. You're not fighting your body, you're fighting your own programming. You don't have to silence the lies immediately. You just have to act faster than they can convince you. That's the secret of the unbreakable. They feel fear, but they move anyway. They feel doubt, but they keep going. They've learned that emotions are signals, not commands. You don't need to believe every thought you have. You just need to believe in your mission more than your mood. Your mind will lie, but it's also trainable. Every time you disobey fear, you teach it obedience. Every time you ignore excuses, you install strength. Over time, your inner dialogue changes. The voice that once said, "You can't," begins to say, "Keep going." That's the transformation. When your thoughts finally align with your purpose instead of your pain. You are not your thoughts. You are the one who commands them. And when you master that truth, your emotions lose control over your direction. So the next time your mind tells you to quit, don't argue. Don't explain. Don't analyze. Just move. Because your feelings are temporary. Your decisions are forever. Chapter 4. Discipline beats motivation every time. Motivation is fragile. It's that spark that burns bright for a moment and disappears the second life gets heavy. It's the temporary high after watching an inspiring video or reading a powerful quote. But when the alarm rings at 5 a.m., when no one's cheering you on, when the room feels cold and your mind says, "Not today," motivation is nowhere to be found. That's where most people stop. They wait for the next burst of inspiration to get moving again. But the disciplined? They move anyway. They act without needing to feel ready. That's the difference between momentum and mediocrity. Discipline doesn't care about feelings, it obeys standards. It's the structure you build when your emotions can't be trusted. Because the truth is, your emotions will betray you. They'll convince you to delay, to rest, to take it easy just for today. And that's how habits die, one easy day at a time. Discipline is the counterforce. It's the system that tells you, we move regardless. It doesn't ask for motivation, it demands consistency. That's why it outlasts everything. Motivation gets you started. Discipline keeps you going when everything else falls apart. When you're disciplined, you don't rely on mood, you rely on mechanism. You create routines that make execution automatic. Think of the soldier who trains to react under pressure, the athlete who practices the same movement thousands of times until it becomes instinct. They don't think about whether they feel like it. Their system removes the question altogether. That's what real strength looks like, when action happens by design, not emotion. Motivation is unreliable because it depends on external triggers, what you see, what you hear, how you feel. Discipline is internal. It's rooted in identity. It's not about wanting to do the work, it's about being the kind of person who does it no matter what. When you live by discipline, you stop waiting for the perfect moment. You create the moment by showing up. Over time, the act of showing up becomes who you are. It's not effort anymore, it's identity. Most people waste their lives chasing motivation like a drug. They feel unstoppable one day, then broken the next. That emotional roller coaster kills consistency. But discipline doesn't need that high. It's stable, emotionless, grounded. It doesn't chase fire, it builds fire through repetition. Each time you follow through when you don't want to, you hardwire resilience into your system. The brain learns that movement isn't optional, it's mandatory. You have to understand, discipline isn't built in comfort, it's forged in friction. It's those mornings when your body screams, no, but you go anyway. It's those nights when the world sleeps and you're still working on your craft. That's when your identity changes. You start seeing yourself differently. You stop saying, "I'll try," and start saying, "I'll do." And once you reach that point, motivation becomes irrelevant. Motivation is emotional, discipline is structural. One collapses under stress, the other thrives in it. The world will throw distractions, delays, and difficulties your way, but discipline stands like armor. It doesn't react, it responds. It doesn't panic, it pivots. When chaos hits, motivation breaks, discipline adapts. And adaptation is how you win. Building discipline starts with removing options. Don't leave room for negotiation. If something needs to be done, train, write, study, grind, schedule it like breathing. You don't need to think about whether you'll do it, you just do it. The less you rely on emotion, the more consistent your output becomes. And that consistency compounds faster than motivation ever could. Motivation gives you a spark, discipline gives you an engine. The disciplined know that systems build freedom. When you have structured habits, your mind stops wasting energy deciding what to do next. You don't have to fight yourself every morning about whether you'll show up. You've already decided. That's why discipline feels hard at first but freeing later. It removes chaos and replaces it with control. Every action becomes a reinforcement of your power. Think about it. If you only work when you feel like it, how far will you really go? The people who build greatness don't rely on passion. They rely on process. They understand that showing up on your worst days matters more than showing up on your best ones. Anyone can act when it's easy. The strong act when it's hard. That's what separates the elite from the average. Motivation fades with mood. Discipline survives every storm. When the excitement is gone, discipline is what's left. It's what gets you through the days of doubt, through the exhaustion, through the pain. Motivation gives up when it hurts. Discipline keeps pushing until it transforms. Discipline doesn't ask, "How do I feel?" It asks, "What needs to be done?" And that question changes everything. You don't have to like the work. You just have to respect the outcome. Every rep, every hour, every sacrifice compounds into something unshakable. You may not see results today, but discipline plays the long game. It's patient. It knows that consistency eventually crushes chaos. It's not glamorous. It's repetitive, relentless, and often boring. But that's where greatness hides. In the repetition no one wants to do. When you operate from discipline, you stop chasing the feeling of progress and start becoming progress itself. You start trusting your actions more than your moods. You stop waiting for motivation because you've replaced it with commitment. You've built systems that make success automatic. And that's the truth most people don't want to hear. You don't need hype. You need habits. You don't need to feel inspired. You need to stay consistent. Motivation might light the match, but only discipline keeps the fire alive when the world goes dark. So stop waiting to feel ready. Stop relying on mood swings. Build your systems. Set your standards. Commit to the schedule. When it's time to move, especially when you don't want to. Because discipline will outlast every burst of emotion. It will carry you through every storm, every doubt, every setback. Motivation is temporary. Discipline is forever. Chapter 5. Turn pain into proof. Pain is not your enemy, it's your teacher. It's the proof that you're still alive, still fighting, still trying to climb. Most people run from pain. They treat it like a warning to stop, a signal that something's gone wrong. But the truth is, pain is progress in disguise. It's the sound of weakness leaving your body, of comfort dying so strength can take its place. Every ache, every struggle, every tear you've ever endured, that's not punishment. That's the receipt that says, you're growing. Pain exposes what's real. It reveals whether you're doing this because it's easy or because it's meaningful. When everything hurts and you still choose to move forward, that's when you discover what you're made of. People talk about strength as if it's some mystical power, but it's simple. Strength is pain you didn't quit through. Every hardship you survive becomes a chapter in your story of endurance. You may not realize it in the moment, but the suffering you're facing today will become your proof tomorrow. Proof that you're tougher than everything that tried to break you. The difference between the weak and the strong isn't the absence of pain, it's how they use it. The weak see pain as a stop sign, the strong see it as a checkpoint. They take the hit, adjust their stance, and keep moving. Pain tells them they're still in the fight. It's a reminder that the process is working. Because no real transformation happens in comfort. Comfort creates stagnation. Pain creates growth. Every great person you admire was forged through moments that nearly broke them, but they stayed. They didn't escape pain, they evolved through it. You can either let pain define you or refine you. If you let it define you, it becomes your excuse. I can't because this hurt too much. But if you let it refine you, it becomes your evidence. I can because I survived this. That shift changes everything. Suddenly, your past isn't a chain holding you back. It's armor protecting you. The scars you carry aren't signs of weakness. They're proof of strength. Proof that you've been through what others couldn't handle. Proof that you didn't crumble. Every hardship you face is building emotional muscle. Think of it like training. Resistance creates growth. If life never challenged you, you'd never develop resilience. You'd remain fragile, easily broken by anything that doesn't go your way. But life doesn't work that way. It gives you pain as practice, so when the real storms come, you already know how to stand tall. You've been here before. You know how to take the hit and keep your balance. Pain is the test that separates wishful thinkers from true warriors. Anyone can stay calm when life is easy. But the person who stays grounded in chaos, that's someone who's mastered themselves. That's someone who uses pain as fuel. They don't need comfort to continue. They don't need validation to keep going. The struggle itself becomes their source of power. Each blow they take only reinforces their resolve. I'm still here. I'm not done yet. You have to rewire how you see pain. Instead of asking, why is this happening to me? Start asking, what is this trying to teach me? Every painful moment has something to reveal. Discipline, patience, humility, endurance. But you only discover it if you stay present long enough to learn. Most people numb their pain instead of studying it. They run from discomfort instead of mastering it. But running from pain only guarantees more of it later. Facing it builds immunity. You need to treat pain like feedback, not failure. If something hurts, it means you're pushing beyond your limits. It means you're expanding into territory your mind isn't comfortable with yet. That's not a bad sign, that's evolution. Growth isn't supposed to feel good, it's supposed to change you. And change always demands discomfort. Every breakthrough you'll ever experience will come wrapped in frustration, fatigue, or fear. Learn to read those feelings as signs of progress, not punishment. The next time you're struggling, remind yourself, this pain is proof. Proof that you're still fighting. Proof that you're still growing. Proof that life hasn't broken you yet, and it won't as long as you refuse to stop. You don't need to eliminate pain to move forward. You need to carry it and keep moving anyway. That's what separates survivors from quitters. The ability to walk through fire without losing faith in your purpose. When you think about the toughest seasons of your life, the nights you cried alone, the times you failed, the losses you thought you couldn't recover from, realize this, you're still here. You didn't just survive those moments, you built yourself through them. Those experiences carved strength into your bones. They became the foundation for the person you are now, unshaken, grounded, resilient. That's not something to regret. That's something to respect. Every hardship you survive becomes evidence that you can't be broken. You are still standing because you refused to surrender. You endured every blow, every disappointment, and every doubt. That's not luck. That's proof of power. Every scar you carry is a reminder that pain did its best to destroy you and failed. So don't hide from pain. Don't wish it away. Use it. Turn it into your evidence, your motivation, your reminder that you've been through worse and still made it out stronger. Pain isn't there to end you, it's there to evolve you. Because pain isn't punishment. It's progress. Chapter 6. Comparison is killing your drive. Comparison is the silent killer of ambition. It doesn't scream, it whispers. It tells you that someone else is doing better, faster, or more successfully than you, and before you know it, your focus shifts from your growth to their progress. The more you watch others, the less you move. You start living as a spectator instead of a competitor in your own life. That's how dreams die, not because you lacked ability, but because you wasted it measuring yourself against someone else's chapter. In a world that constantly showcases other people's highlights, it's easy to forget that social media is not a mirror of reality, it's a performance. You're seeing their best moments, not their sleepless nights, failures, or doubts. You're comparing your behind the scenes to their final cut. And that's a losing game every single time. Because comparison doesn't inspire action, it paralyzes it. It makes you chase validation instead of vision. The truth is, your journey is not supposed to look like anyone else's. You are not late. You are not behind. You are exactly where your lessons are. Growth doesn't follow a universal schedule, it follows effort and endurance. Some people bloom early, others bloom after years of struggle, but all that matters is that you keep planting. Your timeline isn't broken, it's customized. You're not here to mimic someone else's life, you're here to master your own. When you compare, you shift your focus from progress to insecurity. You start asking, why not me, instead of, what can I do better? And that one mental shift kills drive. It turns you from a creator into a complainer. Every minute you spend envying someone else's results is a minute you could have spent refining your own craft, building your own system, creating your own wins. Comparison steals your direction because it pulls your attention toward things you can't control. You can't control their success. You can only control your consistency. You must understand, success is not a race, it's a rhythm. The ones who win are not the ones who rush, they're the ones who refuse to stop. Your path is designed to challenge your weaknesses, not someone else's. You might need more time because your foundation is meant to be stronger. You might face different storms because your mission requires deeper roots. Stop resenting your pace. It's preparing you for endurance, not speed. The reason comparison hurts so deeply is because it triggers ego, not purpose. The ego wants to be seen as better than. The purpose wants to be better than before. That's the difference. When you chase ego-driven success, you'll never feel fulfilled because there's always someone doing more. But when you chase purpose-driven growth, you'll always feel grounded, because your only competition is who you were yesterday. And that's the only race that matters. Focus on your lane. That's where you win. Every distraction, every comparison, every ounce of envy pulls you off your path. You lose momentum not because you lack talent, but because you keep looking sideways instead of forward. Stay in your lane, not because others are irrelevant, but because your journey is unique. The same soil doesn't grow the same flowers. The same storm doesn't hit the same way twice. You are your own equation, your own timeline, your own story. Understand this, no one can do it like you. Even if someone copies your style, they can't copy your soul. Your perspective, your pain, your experience, that's your edge. You don't need to chase someone else's version of success when yours is being built through your own trials. The quiet work you're doing today, the unseen effort, the long nights, the discipline no one applauds, that's what's shaping your success. When your time comes, it'll make sense why you had to go slower, why you had to struggle longer. Because your foundation will be unshakable. The truth is you're not behind. You're in training. You're being refined by time, by resistance, by the very things you think are delaying you. Don't let envy blind you to your blessings. While you're busy staring at someone else's chapter 20, you're ignoring your own chapter 6. And it's powerful, it's necessary, and it's leading somewhere real. Trust it. You need to stop seeing others' success as a threat and start seeing it as proof. Proof that it's possible. Proof that hard work works. Their victory doesn't reduce yours. It's evidence that the system still rewards those who show up consistently. Let it motivate you, not discourage you. You're not in competition with them. You're in collaboration with your potential. Every time you feel comparison creeping in, repeat this. Focus on your lane. That's where you win. This is not just a phrase, it's a discipline. It means turning off noise. It means saying no to distractions. It means being okay with slow progress because progress is still progress. Your journey doesn't need to impress anyone. It just needs to impact you. Because when you're locked in, when you're truly focused on your craft, on your discipline, on your own path, comparison loses its grip. You realize there's nothing to prove, only something to build. You stop chasing external validation and start chasing internal excellence. You stop seeking applause and start earning respect, your own respect first. Your drive thrives in silence, not in comparison. Protect it, nurture it, because the more you compare, the more you drain it. Success requires obsession with your process, not their progress. Look in the mirror and remind yourself daily, I'm not competing with them. I'm competing with the version of me that didn't believe I could. And that's how you win, not by running faster than anyone else, but by refusing to stop running your own race. Focus on your lane. That's where you win. Chapter 7. Comfort is a trap. Comfort is the silent enemy of progress. It doesn't shout, it whispers, seducing you with the illusion of safety. It tells you that what you've already achieved is enough, that the struggles you've endured should now earn you rest, that pushing further is optional. And for a moment, you believe it. The sofa, the routine, the easy path, they feel like allies, but they are imposters. Every moment spent in comfort is a moment your potential is frozen. Growth never waits for permission. It lives beyond the edges of ease. The truth is that your brain is wired to prefer comfort. Evolution programmed you to conserve energy, avoid danger, and stick to what works. But evolution never foresaw modern life with endless distractions, soft couches, instant gratification, and virtual applause. It never foresaw the traps of convenience and consistency masquerading as contentment. Every time you choose comfort over challenge, your mind reinforces weakness. The body adapts to ease and the soul shrinks to match. You don't notice the decay at first, but over time, the safe choices compound into stagnation. You stop growing, stop stretching, stop becoming. Discomfort is not punishment, it is feedback. It is the signal that you are on the right path, that you are expanding beyond your current limits. That ache in your muscles after training, the unease when speaking in front of a room, the hesitation when taking risks. Those are all signs that your mind and body are evolving. You can't shortcut discomfort. You can't negotiate with it. You either embrace it or remain trapped in mediocrity. The most successful people don't seek comfort. They intentionally seek the friction that sharpens them. They arrive early, leave late, practice relentlessly, and welcome the hard moments that others avoid. The trap of comfort isn't just physical, it's emotional and mental. Avoiding hard conversations, postponing decisions, ignoring challenges, these are all forms of self-deception. You tell yourself, "I'll do it tomorrow," while tomorrow quietly becomes the day after, and then the year after. Every time you surrender to comfort, you teach yourself that your limits are immovable. Every time you embrace discomfort, you prove to your mind that it can handle more than it believed possible. This is how discipline is born. This is how confidence is forged. This is how unshakable mental toughness grows. Real growth is uncomfortable. Real success is uncomfortable. Real change is uncomfortable. The irony is that discomfort feels painful in the moment, but it is the source of all future freedom. Every warrior, every elite athlete, every high achiever has learned to find home in discomfort, to stop running from the stress, the fear, the resistance, and instead lean into it. They have made discomfort predictable. They have made challenge a ritual. And through that, they've become unstoppable. Comfort is addictive because it is easy, but easy is dangerous. Easy is the camouflage of weakness. Every time you choose the easy path, you choose the path of least resistance. And the path of least resistance leads nowhere. True warriors train their minds to feel at home in the hard, to find familiarity in resistance, to see struggle as the currency of growth. The more you chase comfort, the more you lose touch with your potential. The more you seek discomfort, the more you awaken it. You must ask yourself every day, am I living for comfort or am I living for growth? Am I choosing the safe route or am I choosing the one that scares me, challenges me, and stretches me beyond what I thought possible? The answer is not temporary. It is the difference between stagnation and mastery, between who you are now and who you are capable of becoming. The path to greatness is paved with discomfort. You will sweat, you will ache, you will doubt yourself, and you will want to stop. But every moment you push through, every time you choose effort over ease, you are rewriting your identity. You are proving to yourself that comfort is optional, but growth is necessary. You are proving to yourself that pain is not a signal to quit, but a signal to move forward with more determination. The people who succeed are not those who avoid difficulty, but those who accept it as part of the process. They treat discomfort like a companion, not a curse. They understand that every challenge faced, every risk taken, every fear confronted is an investment in strength. And when life tests them, they are unshakable, because they have trained themselves to thrive where others collapse. Comfort is the trap that the world hides in plain sight. It is easy to enter and hard to escape. But the same choice that lures you into weakness is the one that can launch you into power. Lean into the discomfort that life offers. Seek out the tasks that feel too hard, the conversations you're avoiding, the risks that scare you, the paths that feel unfamiliar. This is where growth lives. This is where warriors are made. This is where your unbreakable self waits for you. Every day remind yourself, comfort kills ambition. Discomfort builds warriors. Let it guide your decisions, shape your routines, and fuel your mindset. When comfort calls, remember that real power lies beyond it. Step forward into the hard, the challenging, the uncomfortable, and build the life that your comfort zone would never allow. Comfort kills ambition. Discomfort builds warriors. Chapter 8. You don't have to feel ready to begin. Perfection is a lie your mind tells you to stay still. Waiting until you feel ready is a trap disguised as prudence. Most people never start because they're waiting for the right moment, the right mood, the right conditions. They confuse readiness with action, forgetting that readiness is a product of doing, not a prerequisite for it. The truth is that momentum is what creates readiness, not the other way around. Movement generates clarity, courage, and confidence. You don't need to feel ready, you need to start. Every hesitation reinforces fear. Every delay strengthens doubt. The longer you wait, the louder your mind becomes, convincing you that the unknown is insurmountable. But the moment you take even a small step forward, everything changes. Your brain begins to map a path through uncertainty. Your muscles learn what action feels like. Your mind realizes that fear is not a stop sign, it's a signal to engage. Action precedes confidence. Momentum breeds readiness. Waiting only breeds stagnation. Fear is inevitable, but it is not a signal to pause. It is a signal to move. The first step is always uncomfortable, shaky, and unsure. That is the point. Growth happens outside comfort, and growth cannot wait for comfort. Those who succeed don't wait for readiness. They cultivate courage by choosing action over hesitation. They step into the uncertainty, lean into the fear, and discover that the first step is never as dangerous as inaction. Every forward motion, no matter how small, rewires the nervous system, reshapes beliefs, and builds the foundation for unstoppable momentum. Momentum is the antidote to fear. Once you begin, the next step becomes easier, the next challenge feels manageable, and readiness arrives naturally. You learn by doing, not by thinking. You learn by facing friction, not by imagining safety. Progress is created in motion, not in contemplation. The act of starting changes the mind, the body, and the outcome. By the time you feel ready, you are already ahead of those who waited for permission from emotion. Excuses are rooted in the illusion of readiness. I'll start tomorrow. I need more time. I'm not prepared. Every excuse is a delay of destiny. The strongest, the most resilient, the unbreakable act without waiting. They understand that readiness is cultivated by engagement, not reflection. They embrace the discomfort of beginning, knowing that action, not emotion, is the gateway to growth. Every moment you act despite fear, you teach yourself that hesitation is optional, and courage is habitual. Your feelings will never align perfectly with your goals. There will always be fear, doubt, and discomfort. If you wait for them to disappear, you'll wait forever. The unshakable choose to move anyway. They step into the unknown with imperfect preparation, trusting that motion itself is the teacher. They understand that the brain, the heart, and the body all adapt to action. Confidence emerges after steps are taken, not before. Courage is built in the doing, not in the dreaming. Start small, start messy, start afraid, but start. Every attempt, every effort, every imperfect action compounds over time. Momentum accelerates growth, turning hesitation into habit, fear into fuel, and doubt into discipline. Every step forward is proof that you can, and each subsequent step becomes easier because you have already proven it to yourself. Readiness is not a prerequisite, it is the byproduct of forward motion. The person who waits to feel ready will always be behind the one who moves despite fear. Momentum beats planning. Action beats contemplation. Courage beats comfort. By starting today, you are rewriting the script your mind has been feeding you. You are proving that you are not a prisoner of emotion, that hesitation is optional, and that fear is a signal, not a stop sign. Every day you delay is a day you train your mind to obey fear rather than follow action. Every day you move is a day you teach your mind that you are the master of motion, the commander of choice, and the architect of progress. The difference between stagnation and success is not talent, not timing, not opportunity. It is the decision to act, even when everything inside you screams, wait. Start scared. Move anyway. Chapter 9. Failure is feedback, not finality. Failure is unavoidable. It is not a curse, a verdict, or a confirmation of inadequacy. It is information. It is a signal, a mirror, a map showing you exactly where your strategy, effort, or mindset needs adjustment. The unshakable treat failure not as a dead end, but as a teacher disguised in discomfort. Every mistake, every misstep, Every rejection contains a lesson waiting to be extracted, a blueprint for improvement hidden inside temporary defeat. The difference between those who crumble and those who rise is the lens through which they view failure. Weak minds label it permanent. Strong minds label it data. The strongest people collect failures like data points, analyzing each one with precision. They don't let disappointment cloud their judgment, nor do they allow ego to reject the lesson. Instead, they ask, what went wrong? What can I control next time? What was the signal I ignored? This approach transforms loss into growth, mistake into momentum, and setback into preparation. Every failure becomes part of a larger algorithm for success. In this way, the unbreakable mind converts temporary pain into long-term advantage, and emotional blows become strategic fuel. Failure becomes especially powerful when humility accompanies it. Pride blinds people to the lessons embedded in mistakes, but humility opens the mind to insight. The moment you accept that error is not shame, but instruction, you step into a higher plane of mental resilience. You understand that failing is not about identity, it is about execution. You learn faster, adjust smarter, and proceed with a clarity that those who fear failure can never access. Each failure then becomes a rehearsal that equips you to navigate future challenges with confidence rather than fear. Fear of failure is often the anchor that keeps people from starting, but the unshakable do not fear what will teach them. They do not define themselves by the absence of errors. They define themselves by their response to errors. Each time they stumble, they extract value, adjust strategy, and move forward more informed than before. They see setbacks not as walls, but as stepping stones. The stronger you get at converting mistakes into lessons, the less any single failure can hold power over you. Failure also builds perspective. When you consistently extract lessons from every misstep, you realize that no single event dictates your trajectory. One lost opportunity does not cancel out your preparation, nor does one wrong decision erase your capability. In fact, one failure handled wisely multiplies your future success by sharpening focus, deepening patience, and reinforcing resilience. You start to view risk differently, not as something to avoid, but as a calculated necessity that accelerates growth. Emotion is the enemy of learning from failure. Panic, shame, and anger obscure the insights hiding within mistakes. Calm, however, allows you to step back and analyze with clarity. This is why the mentally strong practice detachment. They separate the emotional sting from the strategic lesson. They remain present, accept reality, and engage with facts, not feelings. The result is a mindset that is both flexible and unbreakable, capable of withstanding repeated setbacks without fracturing under pressure. Failure also tests commitment. Every person who aspires to greatness will meet resistance, from the world, from circumstances, and from themselves. The unshakable persist, not because they never fall, but because they refuse to let falling define them. They learn faster, adjust better, and continue forward while others stall in self-pity or hesitation. In this way, repeated failures become the training ground for mental toughness. The more you embrace feedback, the less intimidating the unknown becomes, because you've rehearsed adaptation over and over. Repetition and reflection turn failure into a weapon. Each misstep is logged, each insight internalized, and each adjustment executed. The mind that is disciplined in this way does not panic when things go wrong. Instead, it runs the problem through a silent algorithm. What happened? What was my role? What can I control? And what's next? This process creates invulnerability over time. When others fear falling, you've already learned how to stand up stronger, faster, and more strategically. Ultimately, failure is a tool for self-mastery. It shows you your blind spots, highlights weaknesses, and challenges assumptions. It forces you to confront reality honestly and to iterate relentlessly. Success without failure is hollow. There is no refinement, no sharpening, no resilience. The people who achieve greatness are not those who avoid mistakes. They are those who mine them for every ounce of insight and allow each one to propel them forward. Every failure is temporary. Every lesson is permanent. Every corrected course strengthens your trajectory. By collecting feedback rather than fear, you convert the inevitability of failure into the certainty of progress. You learn to embrace the uncomfortable, value the corrective, and refuse to let any setback define you. This is how the unbreakable mind turns pain into progress, mistakes into momentum, and failure into an integral part of the journey toward mastery. Failure is not the end. It's a mirror showing you what to fix. Chapter 10. Keep moving, even when you feel nothing. There are moments in life when the fire inside you dims. Motivation evaporates. Excitement fades. Your body feels tired, your mind feels numb, and every step forward feels meaningless. This is where the unbreakable separate themselves from the rest. They understand that growth is invisible before it becomes undeniable. The world only notices results at the end, but the real work happens in the shadows. When no one is watching, when no one cheers, when even your own enthusiasm falters. It is in these moments, when feeling nothing, that you define your strength. True champions are forged in the void of emotion, not in the spotlight of inspiration. Consistency is the secret that carries you through the numbness. When your mind refuses to cooperate, discipline steps in. Motivation may fail repeatedly, but routine, habit, and commitment persist. The unshakable know that showing up is not about how you feel, it is about what you do. Each repetition, each small effort compounds silently. The body grows stronger, the mind sharpens, and skill accumulates long before the results manifest. What feels pointless today is the foundation of tomorrow's triumph. Growth is always ahead of perception. You only see it after the distance has been covered, after the repetition has accumulated, after the discipline has silently executed while the emotion slept. This is why the unbreakable never wait for feelings. They act even when enthusiasm is gone, even when excitement has faded, even when hope is fragile. They understand that momentum is built step by step, day by day, action by action. One more step, one more rep, one more effort. They move because they must, not because they feel like it. They acknowledge the emptiness, the boredom, the fatigue, and the frustration, yet they continue. It is this persistence in the absence of reward that separates fleeting effort from lasting excellence. When the mind screams to stop, the body moves. When emotion whispers despair, action shouts perseverance. Champions are not made in moments of comfort. They are made in moments of apathy and resistance. They move when the heart says no, when the soul protests, when the world seems indifferent. They know that every step taken while feeling nothing is a silent investment, a deposit into the bank of mastery that pays dividends long after the struggle. Discipline carries the day even when feeling has abandoned the room. There is a strange paradox in moving without feeling. The more you push, the more energy returns. The act itself revives you. Action begets momentum. Momentum begets clarity. Clarity begets results. Even when every fiber of your being protests, the unbreakable mind presses forward. They trust the process, not the emotion. They trust that the unseen work, the unglamorous effort, the lonely persistence, will eventually yield its reward. Feeling nothing is temporary, but the results are permanent. The path of consistent action, especially when devoid of emotion, builds resilience. It hardens the mind against uncertainty, trains the body to endure fatigue, and strengthens the will to persist. You become someone who does not require external stimuli to keep moving. You learn to create internal momentum that no setback can stop. The emptiness of the present becomes the canvas on which mastery is painted, the crucible in which character is forged. Every step taken in apathy is a silent triumph over weakness. Understand that this phase, when you feel nothing, is unavoidable. Every great achievement has this stage. Every story of success is punctuated by periods of monotony, exhaustion, and numbness. It is how you behave in these moments that determines your trajectory. Do you stop and let the void consume you, or do you keep walking, trusting that the breakthrough is near? The unbreakable choose the latter. They move because action is not contingent on feeling. It is contingent on commitment. Every moment of continued effort, even without emotion, is proof of your mental toughness. Every step forward is a quiet declaration that you are not ruled by fleeting sensations, that you are the master of your actions, that you will persist until progress is undeniable. Emotion may falter, but habit, discipline, and relentless action never do. The work accumulates, the skill compounds, and the results manifest long after the mind has stopped complaining. The unshakable understand that feeling nothing is not an obstacle, it is a test. It is the universe asking whether your commitment is real, whether your purpose is strong, whether your discipline is unbreakable. Those who keep moving during this vacuum of feeling emerge stronger, sharper, and more capable than they ever imagined. The breakthrough is always closer than it seems, and often it arrives immediately after the moment you feel like giving up. Never underestimate the quiet power of continued motion. Momentum does not need enthusiasm, it only needs persistence. Every step taken in emptiness is a step toward mastery, toward growth, toward the person you are destined to become. The world may not notice, the feelings may not reward you, but your future self will. You are building an unshakable foundation, one action at a time, and it is impossible to stop what is steadily growing beneath the surface. Keep walking. The breakthrough is one more step away. You've been through pain. You've been through doubt. But you're still here, and that means the war isn't over. Every scar you carry is proof of strength, not weakness. Every delay, every failure, every heartbreak, it trained you. Motivation fades, but discipline keeps you alive. You don't wait for strength, you build it one painful step at a time. So when your mind says stop, you say not yet. When your emotions scream quit, you whisper watch me. This is how warriors are made, not by comfort but by consistency. You don't need motivation. You need mastery. You don't need perfect timing. You need relentless effort. And from this day forward, you don't back down. You don't slow down. You keep moving, especially when it hurts. Because this is what separates those who dream from those who do. You've come too far to give up now. Finish what you started.